I think we good. I think we good. I think we good. What's poppin', y'all? What's poppin'? Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's poppin', y'all? Let's get this started right. Hold on, hold on. Yeah, yeah. Y'all already know what time it is. What's good, y'all? What's good, y'all? What's good, y'all? What's great? Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Can the Brothers Get a Rap podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Lovechild. I hope y'all can see me. Make sure this light is good. It's good. So again, I want to thank y'all for tapping in, always showing that love. It means the world to me, as always. This is episode 191. We're quickly approaching episode 200. So again, I want to thank y'all for tuning and tapping in. Much love. All right, y'all, let's get this popping again. I want to thank all of y'all for that been supporting my new EP that's on all music platforms, and it's called Winner's Loyalty. If it's your first time hearing it, make sure you type in Ashley Lovechild on all music platforms. Like I said, new EP, 6 songs of fire, especially for my hip hop lovers. So again, thank y'all for supporting my new EP. I also want to thank the presenting sponsor of this pod, which is Button Snaps, where you get the finest of movies, shows, documentary, and original content for your viewing pleasure of $4.99. Again, that's Button Snaps. That's the word button, hyphenated sign, and the word snaps.com. Again, that's the word button, hyphenated sign, and the word snaps.com. We're also on the road to 20,000 subscribers. We're a little over 11,000 subscribers, so continue to like, subscribe, share, hit that all notification bell because I do pop up throughout the week. Just never know. And I got tons and tons of content, over 500 rewatchable videos on of this podcast on this channel. So make sure y'all hit that button. Also, we got a promo code. If you hit right in again, right in the bio, merchandise. Got the merchandise. 10% on all merchandise if you use the promo code Brothers Pod. Again, 44.com, but the links is also in the bio. I feel like I'm forgetting something already. Again, I want to thank all of y'all for tuning and tapping in. We're gonna have an amazing show tonight. Had an amazing day, so we're gonna cap it off with an amazing show. So again, thank y'all for tuning and tapping in. Uh, I feel like I'm forgetting something, y'all. I really do. I really, really do. I was also watching that Cowboys and Eagles game before I got on. It was popular so far. I will say that, but the game got a little delayed, but it was popping game so far. But again, you know what I'm saying? Thank y'all for tuning and tapping in. As always, uh, I hate when people hit me up while I'm on live. I'm on live. I'm on live. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yo, quick shout out to y'all already in the chat. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat already in the building showing major, major love. Shout out to King P, man, for the gifted. Appreciate that each and every show. Just been supporting the show heavily. One of our badge holders been having his badge for over a year. One of those yearly badge holders. So again, thank you, King P, for that gifted. Shout out to Hazel in the building. Shout out to Tremont in the building. Shout out to Culture in the building. Shout out to Ebony in the building. Appreciate you tapping. Appreciate y'all tapping in. And we got them badge holders. We got a lot of badge holders in the building. So again, I want to thank y'all for tuning and tapping in. All right, y'all. Yo, let's get this started, man. This episode 189. 189. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta also give me some ideas. I would love some great ideas to do and celebrate episode 200. Is rapidly coming, and I want to start implementing some great ideas, some things that y'all may want to see for episode 200 to cap it off. So again, don't be afraid to send us some great ideas. All right, y'all, let's get it popping. First segment of the night, popular opinions. Y'all already know this. These questions, I don't come up with these questions. These are the world's questions. So stick to the answers in the questions. This segment is brought to you by OUV Records. See it right there. If you go to Instagram at OUV, you can stay attuned to the latest music and merchandise. The label motto is create, document, and inspire. All right, y'all. First popular opinion question of the night. Whoa. I said I've been saying episode 189 all night. I'm tripping. It's 191. It's 191. I've been bugging this whole time, y'all. My bad. It's 191. So 191 episodes. So that 200th episode is coming up even faster. So again, thank y'all for y'all support. All right, y'all. First popular opinion question of the night. Which draft class in the NBA is the most stacked? Which draft class in the NBA is the most stacked? Number 1, 1984, Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, Barkley. Number 2, 1996, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash. Number 3, LeBron, Melo, and Wade. Well, that's 03. I said 03. At number 4, 2009, Steph, Harden, and DeRozan. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Let me know. Again, the question is, for those who just tapping in, which draft class in the NBA is the most stacked? Again, number 1, 1984 draft class with MJ, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Charles Barkley. Number 2, 1996 with Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash. Number 3, 2003, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, and Dwayne Wade. Number 4, 2009, with Steph Curry, James Harden, and DeRozan. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Me personally, I think automatically when people see and hear the name Jordan, automatically people gonna say Jordan. And that 84 draft class was super stacked. It wasn't just those guys, but other guys in that draft class did become all-stars. But for me, the first draft class that I really remember front to back, front to back, and the amount of all-stars, amount of guys who was franchise players in their draft. Some people would say 2003, right? But I can't go with 2003 either. Me personally, I'm going with 1996. Me personally. Allen Iverson, they did mention Kobe, but mind you, Kobe was just coming out of high school. I believe he was taking like 8, if I'm not mistaken. But he wasn't even regarded as the best player in the draft, but his upside was ridiculous. You also had guys like Marcus Camby. Marcus Camby was a defensive stopper, and he had a lot of great years for Toronto and the Knicks. Obviously, one of my favorite players in the world, and probably my most favorite player in the NBA, is my favorite player ever in the NBA, actually, is Stephon Marbury. Strong, forward, rugged, tough, could shoot the 3 ball, just a floor general. I'm telling, he had great years with Timberwolves, Knicks, and my favorite version of Stephon Marbury was on the Nets, the Brooklyn. Well, there's New Jersey Nets at the time, but the Nets. So, and you got Antoine Walker. I mean, it Peja Stojakovic. It just goes on and on. Obviously, Steve Nash, Kerry Kittles was a great player at that time. Defensive stopper, two-way guy. I mean, and obviously Ray Allen. It's too many people for me to name. Jermaine O'Neal. I don't know if y'all remember Walter McCarthy. He was a great player at the time. John Wallace was also a great prospect at the time. Eric Dampier. I mean, it goes on and on. So to me, it's 1996. In the chat, I'm seeing the 1994 draft. Most of y'all saying the 1994 draft on this is the most stacked. Even the Steph Curry, Harden, and DeMar DeRozan draft was a fire draft as well in 2009. That is a great draft. Another slept on draft is the draft with Tatum, what's that? Tatum, Donovan Edwards, uh, I believe Brown was in that draft as well too. I mean, that draft was a damn good draft too. That was a damn good draft too. So, but based on this list again, which draft in the NBA is the most stacked? Again, number one, 1984 MJ Hakeem Olajuwon Barkley draft. Number two, 1996 Kobe Bryant Allen Iverson Steve Nash draft. Number three, 2003, LeBron James, Melo, and Wade draft. Number four, 2009, Steph, Harden, and DeRozan draft. I went with 1996. I went with 1996. The chat went with 1984. The rest of the world at 53%, over 9,000 people voted on this, went with 1984 draft that highlighted Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Charles Barkley. Again, not mad at that. Not mad at that because these guys are Hall of Famers. Hall of Famers. So I'm not mad at that. And what makes probably why most people voted on that is that those guys, when they played well, their teams won championships. I mean, obviously, with the exception of Charles Barkley, Jordan was in his way, but you know, other guys won championships. So that's what makes the difference for me. But again, I went with 1996. 1996 draft class to me was just super cool, yo. Like, it don't get no better than that. Shout out to Ad in the building. Appreciate you tapping in, man. Uh, yo, bro. How are you doing today? I'm doing well, man. Thank you for tapping in, man. Appreciate the love. Hit them likes, hit the 100s while you here. You know, we talk about everything if this is your first time tapping in. And again, welcome. Welcome. Appreciate you here. Hope you add to the conversation and join the chat. All right, y'all. Moving on to our next popular opinion question. Favorite R&B group on this list. Favorite R&B group on this list. All time. Number one, the Jacksons. Number two, the Temptations. Number three, New Edition. Number four, the OJs. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Again, the question is your favorite R&B group on this list all time. Again, number one is the Jacksons. Number two is the Temptations. Number three is New Edition. And number four is the OJs. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Let me know. All these groups, obviously, all time, all these groups are iconic. So that's why I did favorite. Well, that's why I look for the favorite instead of who is the best. I went with favorite because I think that it's always a best, you know, but best is always what's the word I'm looking for? It's like personal choice driven in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like some people may think the best group is just all singers, right? Some people may think the best group is guys who can sing and can move. Some, you know, so there's different parameters to how people judge their artists. So everybody has their own type of preference. That was the word I was looking for. So again, all these groups are great. Me personally, if I had to pick one group as my favorite group of all time, I'm probably gonna say the Jacksons. I mean, come on, it's highlighted with Michael Jackson. And before Michael Jackson went solo, those songs that they had, yeah, I gotta remember these songs came out in like the early 70s. Early 70s. We in 2025. And these songs still ring out. You could do a sample on these songs and make an R&B song, make a hip hop song, and it will still ring out. Their chord structure, their melody, just how they put things together. For me personally, it always had a real groove to it, and it just never, it's timeless. So me personally, I'm going with the Jacksons and the GOAT leading the ship, which is Michael Jackson. I mean, the Temptations, to me, is an institution at this point. And I'm not saying that dishearteningly. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of members in the Temptations throughout time, outside of the original 6 that was a part of the group, because there was the original 5, they replaced one, and then they had their main 5 for a long time, and then due to group discrepancies, people came, people left, and then they started their own there was 2 Temptations out there at one time. People passed on. It became like an institution for great singers to boost their singing profile. As far as New Edition, I didn't even know New Edition was a group until like after I learned about each of them as solo artists. When I was little, they was all solo artists at the time, and my big brother was like, "Yo, that's No Edition." I'm like, "No Edition? Like, what you talking about?" And I seen all the old joints they had together. I'm like, "Oh, they was a group? Bobby, Ronnie, Ricky, and Mike." You know what I'm saying? Like all of them together. So, and then the OJs is, you know what I'm saying? They timeless. The OJs is timeless. So, again, me personally, I went with the Jacksons. In the chat, I seen a New Edition in the chat. The rest of the world at 39%, mind you, over 3,000 people voted on this, went with New Edition. Again, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. New Edition is a great group. They was all great separately, but I believe New Edition only have maybe 3 albums. I would say 4. I would say 4 because they had the original 2, and then it was Home Again and the one after that. So I think they have 4 as New Edition, if I'm not mistaken. But the Jacksons had numerous of albums that was just top tier, and a lot of people say, well, if you take New Edition and go with their solo stuff, and I'm like, yeah, their solo stuff is monsters, but ain't nobody touching MJ. So you know what I'm saying? That's the cheat code in my opinion. So again, the rest of the world went with New Edition at 39%, and over 3,000 people voted on this. So shout out to that. All these groups are great. All these groups are great. So that's why we got to stay away from who's better is who's your favorite. So, and all these groups are great and very deserving of that title. So shout out to that. All right, y'all, moving on to our next segment, our Hollywood Need to Ask Us segment. I came up with the segment because there's this trash ass movies that's been out, with the exception of the movie Sinners and of the month of July. The month of July was jam-packed with great movies. So outside of that, those 2 times in particular, it's still a lot of trash ass movies out here that we didn't ask for. There's no intrigue. There's no type of lineage or history. They just bringing stuff out. So I feel like I got better ideas for a movie or movie series. All right, y'all. So my Hollywood Need to Ask Us. I would love to see a 12 episode series. I'm tired of the 10. 12 makes a difference. I would prefer 15, but I'm tired of the 10. I hate these 10 episode formats. It's just not enough. So me personally, I would love to see a 12 episode format of this particular movie series. I would love to see a Western comedy style. I would love to see that. I think that would be a major, major hit. Something that's a Western comedy, something that's kind of like of the ilk of like Life, like that type of comedy. Not anything that's like silly and kind of buffoonish type of comedy. I need like comedy and just layered and laced in Western, and just with that comedy in the Western time. I would love to see a 12 episode series based on this. Rated R. I need some rated R. I need that grown. You know what I'm saying? I want to see that grown. So I need it to be rated R. I would cast my casting director. I'm gonna go with the legendary Robbie Reed. She's done a lot of great movies, have orchestrated a lot of all-star casts, and I think she would do justice to this particular project. And I'm gonna go with somebody that's I'm gonna go with somebody that's a legend for my director, but he only directed one movie, and that one movie is monumentally one of the best comedies ever. But the only reason why he only has one movie because he didn't like the first experience of directing. But this is like 40 years ago, bro. So jump back into the directing game at least one more time for this one. You know what I'm saying? So me, I'm going to direct. For my director, I'm going to have Eddie Murphy to direct this. He only directed Harlem Nights, and he didn't even think Harlem Nights was that good. And if you leave it up to the average person watching Harlem Nights, this it's a funny, tears in your face movie from front to end. So again, I would enlist as my director Eddie Murphy in a Western comedy. Again, this will be rated R. My casting director would be Robbie Reed because of what she can do and finding the right people for each role. And it will be a 12 episode series, like I said, a Western comedy. So again, that's my Hollywood Need to Ask Us for this episode. Quick shout out to Paul. Appreciate you tapping in, Paul, in the building. One of our day ones in the building. Appreciate you as always, and thank you for the compliment. You know, try to do something nice for the people. You know, so again, thank you for tuning and tapping in. As always, much love. All right, y'all. Moving on to our next segment, our must see segment. Y'all know I'm gonna give y'all some fire must see movies like I do each and every episode, and I kind of pride myself. I don't want to say kinda, but I do pride myself on listing movies that I feel like y'all never heard of. So again, I got some fire movies for y'all to check out. Yeah, I don't think y'all have seen any of these. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. Some of y'all, I don't know, some of y'all might cap in the chat, but we're gonna see how honest y'all are. Last episode, I told y'all to go check out Poison Ivy, The New Seduction. I told y'all to go check out Bulletproof and Instinct to Kill. Fire movies to tap into. So the number one movie to go check out is actually a series. This one is actually a series. Came out in 2016, directed by David Hogans and Carol Mandelson. This stars Michael Raymond, Brie Blair, David Lyons, Lorenzen Tate, Claire Von der Boom, Demetrius Gross, and Derek Phillips. This show or show series is called Game of Silence. This series is fire. This series is fire. And you're going to be begging for more. Pause. This series about young kids surviving going to the juvenile detention, going into juvenile detention when they was young kids and surviving that and the effects that it had in the rest of their life. So, but it's a fire show. I won't spoil it for you. So make sure y'all go tap into Game of Silence. Y'all can catch that one on Tubi. Second must-see movie came out in 1998, directed by Brad Turner. This one stars Lou Gossett Jr., Jonathan Silverman, Tobias Mailer, Greg Thornaway Jr., Greg Thornaway Jr. Bourne, and Cody Sapra. This movie is called The Inspectors. Fire movie it's one of them sneaky fire movies. This movie's about two postal inspectors. I didn't even know they had postal inspectors that had like powers of police officers, but these two postal inspectors entered to a situation at a house, and you have to see the rest of the movie. Y'all know I have a way of not telling y'all what's going on in the movie, and I won't again spoil it for y'all, but make sure y'all tap in to see The Inspectors. Fire movie. My third and final must-see movie came out in 1988. Told y'all I ain't see some of these movies. This movie was directed by Jonathan Demme. This stars Michelle Pfeiffer, Matthew Molden, Alec Baldwin, Dean Stockwell, Mercedes Rule, and Joan Cusack. This movie is called I'm Married to the Mob. Fire movie. Has a smidgen of comedy, but it's not a comedy, but it's a fire movie. It's about a woman married to her husband who's also in the mob, and he happened to watch the rest of the movie. I won't ruin it for y'all, so make sure y'all tap in to see the rest of this movie. Again, my 3 must-see movies in a movie series. Number 1, Game of Silence. It's a full season of it right now on Tubi. Number 2, The Inspectors. Number 3, I'm married to the mob. So make sure y'all tap in to see those movies as well. Fire movies. Shout out to Boss in the building. Appreciate you tapping in. Hit them likes, hit the 100s, hit them likes, hit the 100s. Helps with the growth of the show, and we appreciate you being here. We talk about everything here. So, all right, y'all. Make sure y'all tap into those movies. All right, y'all. Moving on to our next one. Our must-hear artists. I give a must-hear artist, whether it's R&B, whether it's hip hop, whether it's new or old. I'm gonna give y'all some fire music to tap into. Tonight's artist is R&B. Is R&B. Check out the group Silk. Check out the group Silk. Put these 3 songs on your playlist. Again, the group is called Silk, like silk sheets. Number 1, If. Number 2, Meeting in My Bedroom. Number 3, Freak Me. Fire songs right there. Fire songs, especially for my R&B lovers. If you love that good old R&B music, R&B sound, put these 3 songs on your playlist by the group Silk. Again, number 1 is If. Number 2, Meeting in My Bedroom. Number 3, Freak Me. Make sure y'all put those on your playlist. Fire songs. Make sure y'all tune and tap in. All right? All right, y'all. Moving on to our next one. I got a fire book for y'all to tap into. I'm going to give y'all a book to read as always. Must read. How to Start a Parking Lot Operation Business. That's a great business right there. You can make over 250,000 now if you get you a good location. So make sure y'all tap into this book. Again, it's called How to Start a Parking Lot Operation Business. This book is by Layman Esprella and Sam Enrico. So make sure y'all tap into that book. Again, it's called How to Start a Parking Lot Operation Business. Again, by Layman Arala and Sam Enrico. So make sure y'all tap into that book. A great read. And expand your mind for some business. Like, everybody talk about everything except for the business. Talk about the money. Let's get to the money. We in 2025, and you have to start learning how to make your own money. We going into an age where AI is going to take over a small portion of the workforce. And as people, we have to dictate the workforce. So again, if you don't want these little side hustles and work 40 hours over there, you have to start learning how to build your own, or at least work a job that could pay you without having to work several jobs at once. So again, a parking lot business is a great business. So make sure y'all tap into that book. All right, y'all, moving on to our next segment. Send them the turkey or nah. Send them the turkey or nah. Y'all already know how this go. We type in T to send them the turkey, or we type in not to send them the turkey. It's just that simple. It's an inside joke on the show. When people is just ridiculous, they do stuff that's just unholy, we send them the turkey. Turkey got some of the most craziest laws that we've ever heard, and we send people to Turkey. And so simple. If we don't want to, we type in. So, all right, y'all. Let's get this started. Send them to Turkey or nah. Send them to Turkey or nah. Teacher arrested for spending school credit card on hairline repair cream. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Again, there was a school teacher that spend the school's budget credit card on hairline repair cream. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. It's going crazy in the chat already. They saying send him to Turkey. So they saying send him to Turkey. Listen, I I mean, finessing is at its all-time high, y'all. So me personally, am I going to send him to Turkey for real because he was trying to, benefit himself? Yeah, I'm gonna send him to Turkey. You crazy? He's going all the way to Turkey. He's going all the way to Turkey. Like, dude, I don't know where some of these people get their money management skills, and because they have access to it, they think it's theirs. What made him think that he could take money from the school budget and do anything with it? It don't even matter what he bought for real. What he bought, it just sounds stupid, right? And to take that type of risk on something that took you a long time to get, which is your education, you just can't become a teacher because you want to become a teacher. That's a lot of schooling. That's a lot of things, like certifications that you had to go through, a lot of training that you had to go through, and all of that for probably what, a $150 cream? I don't know, but like, people don't make their moves make sense looking at the big picture of it. So at the end of the day, the fact that he had access to the money is also another thing in itself. Now, who is in charge of that? Because if he did that, the person who hired him to be in charge of the money, I'm looking at them all kind of suspect too. And if I did the hiring, I got to do a better job in learning how to vet people, because you giving somebody access that's using the access to their personal to their personal you know things that they got going on. And if I caught him with the hair cream, what else he's been buying all this time? Like, there's a record of this. Like, it never just starts with the one thing. So, this in itself, it takes on a multi layers and levels of accountability. Let me tap into the chat. Shout out to Paul. My question is, how small was the budget? See, that's the thing. Do it really matter, or more so matter the access of the budget, right? Because the budget was big enough for him to buy whatever that he bought. It's the fact that who gave him the access, right? So, I mean, all things considered, like, a lot of people have to answer and hold some accountability, because a lot of schools is underfunded. So, I mean, for one, he has to be let go. He has to be fired. That's for one. And for two, obviously there will be charges. And even though they're minor charges, it's still charges, because, again, he took the school's money, and the school normally gets their money from either a private sector, if it's a private school, or the state in itself. So if it's a public school, so there's multi ways of the accountability that has to be shared and distribute. So I just think that's crazy. He had access to it. And if you got access to the school budget, out of all things, you're going to buy a hairline repair cream. That's wild. That's wild. I just bet people usually buy cars or take vacations. He brought hair cream must have been a small budget. But that's what I'm saying, right? That's what I'm saying. Now, that's why I say, for me, it doesn't matter, because let's say if he did take the vacation, right? Would it be worth it? If he bought him a car, would it be worth it? So the bigger the stuff that he would have bought, the bigger the penalty would be. So, but I get the question that you're asking as far as the budget. And for me, it's always the bottom line, right? Like I just stated, if it was a bigger budget, it would have been a much bigger punishment. So, yeah. So to take that type of risk, like, again, a vacation is not worth that type of risk. A car is not worth that type of risk, in my opinion, when you have a steady job working as a teacher. So, at the end of the day, it's like, yo, you're going to lose your job, but it may not follow him, because it's amazing how teachers get into a lot of or get in some things that should be on their record. When they get fired and relocate, it just seems like their record doesn't follow them. Like we hear all the time where, uh, a teacher may have did something to a student sexually in a school or something like that, and they get fired. The people find out, and then he relocates and he's able to teach and everything, and then something else happens, and then he gets fired again, and then they like, well, he got fired for this is the first time, and they be like, nah, he did this over here, so don't your record follow you? So, he may get a second chance at this. So we're going to see. We're going to see. All right, y'all, moving on to our next one, Cinema Turkey or Nah, Cinema Turkey or Nah. Super producer Jermaine Dupri says no one makes music for teens anymore. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Are we going to send Jermaine Dupri comments to Turkey? Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Again, he said no one makes music for teens anymore. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Me personally, he's definitely spot on about that. He's definitely spot on about that. Most people, I don't want to say most people, but there's a lot of artists that's out there that's making music for the turn up. Everybody wants to have a good time. And honestly, I believe the music reflect the times that we live in. Because we live in such strenuous times, you got people who are very, very sensitive in this time period. So we got a lot of turn up music, vibe music, where everything is happy and go lucky. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but there's no balance. And you don't have righteous music. You don't have education music. You don't have, music specifically for teens that could enjoy the music without it being like overt, if that makes sense. I'm not gonna lie though, when I was a teen, I was able to listen to everything with no problems. So I never had music that was necessarily made for teens either. Like, or the music that was made for me, I didn't listen to. Like when I was a teenager, I'm listening to adults. I'm listening to Jay-Z. I'm listening to R. Kelly. I'm listening to Nas. I'm listening to Adina Howard. I'm listening to Luke. I'm listening to, well, Uncle Luke, I should say. So the type of, and then mind you, we had something called uncut videos that used to come on BET. And them uncut videos is exactly what I'm saying. They was uncut. And they was showing a little something over here and a little something over there. And you're liable to see a body part, but of course they will blur out the body part, but you know that is there. So, but there was also music for teens. Like we also had Little Bow Wow, Little Romeo, and several other artists that made their music for teens, I would say, yes. So at the end of the day, in this period, none of the music is made for the teens at all. Everything is, I thought, again, when I was a teenager, everything was hypersexual. This is on a whole nother level, in my opinion. It's on because it's so normalized. Like, again, when I was a kid, and Mystical had a video called, I think it was Danger. And there was a video vixen at the time, and she went by as Superhead. And she was in the video topless. And it was on BET, not BET Uncut like this. The video was so fire that it was actually on 106 & Park, the #1 video of, like, it was one of those ones that was always #1 for like weeks at a time. And in the video, she was topless. But of course they blurred it out. But she was topless. So, but it was a balance. We still had music that was made for teens. This whether you chose to listen to it or not. But something like that is so normalized. If I came out with a video tomorrow and all the women in my video was topless, would it be like, yo, did you see the Ashley Lovechild video? All the girls in there is topless, bro. It's crazy. Like, people be like, we done seen that already. Robin Thicke did that. Pause. Him, T.I., and Pharrell, when they did, I forget the name of the song, but they did that already. So like I said, we in the era where none of the stuff surprises anybody anymore. So I mean, I, but the artists in my, again, that I grew up to, they was adults and I was a kid. They was very much risque. Little Kim was risque. You know, she pull up to the awards with, little pasties on her nipples and some jeans. Like, oh, all right. Yeah, that look good on you, little Kim. Like, as a horny teenager, you know what I'm saying? So, but as teens, I agree with Jermaine Dupri that there's no music made for teens anymore. There's no type of balance. Everything is super duper hypersexual and everything is adult content. Even the younger artists, even the younger artists who are like 18, 19, 20, normally most artists, whatever their age range is at, they normally make music for people that's younger than them, so it kind of lasts longer, right? But now artists is trying to make music for the older crowd and older. It's all the same pool, in my opinion. So I believe I agree with Jermaine Dupri. So I'm not sending him to Turkey based on that. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to man, we got Ryan Anthony in the building. Appreciate you tapping in. Vic in the building. Appreciate you tapping in. Those badge holders. Those are them badge holders. Them big badge holders. Pause. A shout out to Tooney in the building. Appreciate you tapping in. Christopher, appreciate you tapping in. Johnny, appreciate you tapping in, man. Fire, great to have you. Again, hit them likes, hit them 100s while you're here. Helps with the growth of the show. Stay active in the chat. Great conversation, and I do answer chats. Blurred Lines. Yes, that was the video I was referring to, Christopher. Yes, it was the song called Blurred Lines. Robert Thicke, T.I., and Pharrell, and all the honeys in there was topless. You know what I'm saying? And when the way they smoothed it out, the original video had everybody fully clothed. And they was like, yeah, that's not the real video, baby. The real video, baby, everybody topless, doggy. So it's not a big deal. It's not. I mean, I can't remember which artist did this, but there was an artist, there was a dude in the video where he married his gun, and he's in a wedding dress, and he's like kissing the gun or sucking the gun or something like that. The AK-40. It was just crazy. So again, this era of music, there's no surprises. There's no surprises. Tap into the chat moving. Chat move showing love. The most recent example was in March, new polls. Da 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 da. Shout out. I have what you talking about on that. Okay. Little Kim and her stomach pump, because I'm not gonna say the rest of that, Vic. I'm not gonna say the rest of that, Vic. I'm not gonna say the rest of that. Danger. Get it on the floor. Yeah, those videos was iconic. And even other videos that people may have never heard of, but Ludacris had, how can I say this? P Poppin'. The song is called P Poppin'. And it's referring to a woman, and it's called P Poppin'. In that video, it was crazy. It was crazy. It was in a strip club. Bras was like they burned all the bras in that video. They was up close and personal with the crotch area in that video. Also, Nelly had the song. Oh my God, what was the song with Nelly, y'all? Let me know again with the song with Nelly in the chat. Oh my God, and it was the pool party. It must be your ass, but it ain't. Tip drill, tip drill, tip drill. That song, tip drill. Nelly had a song called Tip Drill. And that video was crazy. No bras, the cools. What the girl said at Sinners? Cools. You got cools all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Cools and breastises with no bras. A lot of cools and breastises with no bras all over the place. Soapy, all in the rubber dub tub. You know what I'm saying? It's a great video to watch. Used to come on BET Uncut. You know what I'm saying? So all was a great time. So again, those videos was hella risque. Busta Busta Rhymes had a video like that? I'm not sure Busta Rhymes had a video like that. This was on Top Game. I love you both have an incredible talent to stop complaining, I think. Appreciate that, Johnny. Appreciate that, Johnny. Appreciate that. Yeah, man. So a lot of those videos, you know, you had the, you know, tune to tap in, but it was a choice. We had a balance, and this era don't. So again, that's my send them to turkey. All right, y'all. Y'all already know what time it is. It's that time of the night. Time to rap. This segment is brought to you by Button Snaps, where you get the finest of movies, shows, documentaries, and original content for your viewing pleasure of $4.99. Again, that's Button Snaps. That's the word button, hyphenated sign, and the word snaps.com. That's the word button, hyphenated sign, and the word snaps.com. First hot topic of the night. I don't know if y'all seen this, but the new trailer just dropped of the new Jason Voorhees movie, and they're calling it Sweet Revenge. They haven't set a release date as of yet, but the only guarantee is that it's coming out this year for 2025. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Are y'all looking forward to seeing a new Jason movie? Are y'all cool on the new Jason movie? Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Me personally, I'm two ways with Jason movies, man. Like, if it's a good movie, then bring us on a good movie, a great horror film. Bring it on. But if it's kind of like repetitive, if it doesn't forward the story, then I'm cool. I'm cool. If you ever seen Jason before, his mother was the original Ripper, right? Which was the spin at the end of the very first Friday the 13th. Then the revenge was because his mother passed away or died, I should say, or got murdered, was Jason. And he's just been stacking bodies. But the story just sits. It's still kind of like the same regurgitation. Or if you go to Camp Crystal Lake, and I was like, at this point, as many bodies that he done piled up on Camp Crystal Lake, we live in 2025, so nobody ain't bought the property to tear it down, demolish it from the ground up, get him out these tunnels, so nobody know nothing. All this time. Mind you, the franchise started probably, I'll say, like in the early 80s. So nobody know nothing. We in 2025 and nobody know nothing. All right, heard you. So again, they don't progress the story. So if it's a great movie, they progress the story, I'm all for it. If they don't, and if it's the same thing, like how the Michael Myers franchise, Halloween is to me, it's a terrible franchise. It's a terrible franchise. Those first few movies were solid, but you got Jamie Lee Curtis running around for like the 50th year for her brother trying to murder her. Mind you, this dude done fell off buildings. He done got his head chopped off. You know, he done got burnt a lot. Like, he done been through a lot. He been shot in close range with the snub nose, with the shotgun, like all types of stuff, and he's still not dead. At least progress the story. So I'm kind of cool on the new Jason Voorhees movie. So again, but it's coming out and it's called Sweet Revenge. All right, y'all, moving on to my next hot topic. President Trump has announced that he will direct federal law enforcement to take over cities such as Chicago and Baltimore. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Let me know. I'll give y'all a couple of minutes to let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. You ever taste that water and it be so good, it feel like it's something flavored? That's all I drink is water. Get you some of that alkaline water at store brand. Get you that alkaline water, hit different. All right, y'all. So again, President Trump has announced that he will direct federal law enforcement to take over cities such as Chicago and Baltimore. Again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Me personally, regarding this, we just seen the immediate effect that his new proposed law is having in DC. I've always been kind of puzzled that you have the president based in DC, and DC has traditionally been a very violent city, traditionally. And then Baltimore, not being so far from it, is also ultra violent. So it's always kind of like interesting that the place that is supposed to be the staple of the government, and when you have the government somewhere, you're supposed to have order. You would think it'll be less crime. So that lets me know that crime pays, because for them to have a job, you have to have crime. So it's like when we talk about redlining and having different borders of people or where they live based on economics, based on race, it's not if it happens, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. So that lets me know that's very prevalent, because in these areas, if I'm an authority figure and you live next to me, I won't allow this block to be corrupted. I won't allow the block that I raise my family on to have any type of issue. So again, you have all those law enforcement in the city of DC. You would think DC would be very peaceful, very safe to walk the streets. So the fact that Donald Trump has made or try to make that implement change where he's saying it's going to be the death penalty if or a life sentence if you murder somebody in the realm of around the White House or you know, something of that in that regard. He kind of wants to do that same measure in Chicago and in Chicago and Baltimore, where there's going to be harsh, super harsh penalties if murder is going on in these particular areas of cities, because what they realize, and there's a lot of big business that could be in these cities. And if big business could be in these cities and violence is basically the deterrent, then they're going to take their business elsewhere. This is affecting the bottom line. This is not just for the greater good of humanity. That I do know for a fact. It's not that he has such a soft spot for the people that, yo, nah, we got to clean this up, man. It's all about business. And people that can move the needle with their money is saying that is a great location. We can make trillions of dollars in that location. But we need to fix the area on the politic in the area, where we allow the crime in the area. In places like Chicago, you don't necessarily have to have crime. Chicago, at least in my upbringing, wasn't known to be a super criminal city. When you had the Chicago Bulls rocking, the Chicago Bears rocking, you got all this movies going on live location in Chicago, Oprah Winfrey. So there was like an essence to Chicago of entertainment that it seemed safe. There may have been an inner city of Chicago that was always like risque and tough to that measure. Same like New York City. There's an area in New York City where you could do business and turn up. And there's an area in New York City where you need to chill, right? But the allure of a place like Chicago has gone away. And that's mainly due to business. Nobody wants to do business in Chicago. Nobody wants to do business in Baltimore. Nobody wants to do business in Memphis based on their environment. So for the fact that they trying to turn this around, it's a no-brainer, because that is $1 trillion location if they can make sure that the safety of the people is good. So the fact that Donald Trump is speaking on it, I'm not surprised at all. This is not something that's mind-blowing to me, that he said he's going to make these changes to make sure that those cities are safer. It's all about the bottom line, in my opinion. So, all right, y'all, moving on to my next hot topic. In the latest interview of with Shannon Sharpe with Hall of Famer Michael Irvin, he speaks on being finessed by his former coach, Jimmy Johnson, on wearing the number 47 at receiver in Miami, at the University of Miami. Again, let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. This was a very funny subject line to me, in my opinion, mainly because numbers matter to football players. Numbers matter to football players. And depends on your position, your number reflects on how you're going to play. Now, you can also take this approach too. If you're a great player and you get a terrible number, it can have the effect on a player where he's going to turn up so crazy that next year, ain't no way you're going to dream to give him this terrible number at this position. You're going to give him such a fire. He's going to show up and show out so crazy this year. Next year, when he asks for that number, you cannot turn him down. The second effect that it has on football players is like, yo, you gave me this whack-ass number. I can't get into a groove with this whack-ass number, dog. So the fact that the coach gave Michael Irvin 47, mind you, Jimmy Johnson is a Hall of Fame coach. He's won championships in college and in the NFL as a coach. Very effective. And for him to convince a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Fame, mind you, Michael Irvin was a freshman at the time, but he told Michael Irvin the reason why he's giving him the number 47 at wide receiver is because when he catches the ball and comes down with it, he looks like a 747 of, playing when it comes down and lands with it. So Michael Irvin was speaking on the fact that he was like, for real? And start looking at that number a little differently, like, yo, this number might hit, you know what I'm saying? And again, it's all about confidence, right? But the fact that Coach Jimmy Johnson could finesse it the way that he did goes to show how strong an impact that coaches, whether it's from Little League all the way to college to the NFL, can have on a player's confidence and abilities. Because before then, we didn't see a wide receiver, a star player wide receiver, wear that number. That number is atrocious. And because he made that number look good at receiver, other receivers wore that number 47 at the school. But again, it's all about the player. And players could bring out numbers and make it their own and make it special. So I thought that was interesting that, that he got finessed, because there's a whole lot of players that get finessed like that all the time. Like if you watch a lot of college football games, you'll see running backs and corners who don't get much play. Them colleges, they will give them 67, 66, 53, a wild number that if you played running back or you play cornerback, there's no reason why you should have any of these numbers on. So again, I just thought it was crazy interesting that the fact that Coach Jimmy Johnson was able to finesse Michael Irvin on wearing 47 in college. All right, y'all, moving on to our next hot topic. Shout out, I want to give a quick shout out to all the street performances in New York City where they had different R&B acts, different reggae, soca acts. But some of these performances did stick out to me, and it just brings that energy to New York City, especially the summertime. So shout out to artists, legendary artists such as Lady G, Lady Ann, Johnny Osborne, and Kevin Little. Keep doing y'all thing. And being able to perform, the ability to perform is ageless. It's ageless. A new artist can have a popping song, very relevant, but when you go see them perform, it's like, damn, I could have stayed home. This artist doesn't know how to perform. But older acts, regardless of any genre, hip hop, rap, reggae, soca, right? It's wonderful to watch these people still perform because they still evoke an emotion out of you where it's like, yo, you ready to party, you ready to have a good time. So seeing these artists was just so dynamic to me because, again, they're older now and they still perform very well. They still excellent performers. They can still shut it down. And they are performing in the street. They have this thing where the DJ goes around the different boroughs and these legendary artists pull up, show up, and show out. They giving you concert type performances in the street. And I love it. And again, the people, come around and it just gives that great New York City energy. For those of y'all that don't know, in New York City, in the city of New York, even though rap is prevalent, you're not going to hear rap at real parties. You're going to hear reggae and soca. Because reggae and soca get the party started. It make you feel good. Not grab you, but get you a woman and get your wine on, dog. You know what I'm saying? Have you a good time, get you a nice smooth drink, and just relax. So shout out to those artists, man. Dope artists. Keep doing y'all thing. And they so important to the culture. Shout out to Paul. What did you think about MC Light falling? Well, I will say this: MC Light had a great performance, but it just looked bad. It was like, oh damn, you all right? It just looked bad. It just looked bad. I'm the wrong person to ask that because I'm from Brooklyn, right? So people falling is funny to me. You know what I'm saying? But again, I'm glad she's all right, and it's only funny because she's all right. If she would have fell and broke her hip, it wouldn't have been funny. But she had a great performance after that. But I did see that, her tripping up the stairs to get on the stoop to perform. Shout out to Cashmere. Appreciate you tapping in. Did you know that Jim Richards' cousins? No, did not know that. Appreciate you tapping in, Cashmere. Hit them likes, hit the 100s. It helps with the growth of the show. Appreciate you tapping in. All right, y'all, moving on to our next hot topic. Internet comedian Drewski gets backlash on his new skit because he paint his skin white. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. This is not the first time Drewski has done this, but I think is the depiction on who he was depicting created this so-called backlash. To me, Drewski is one of the funniest people on the internet that we have right now. All his skits are hilarious to me. Not every single one, but majority of his skits is hilarious. Like the one where he's dressed as like the emo fashionista, and he's like, yeah, my name is Demir, and he's got on the belly crop top. That one takes me out. Like, that one is super funny to me. This particular skit, he's dressed as a redneck. And he's at the football game. He's interacting with, the community in that community. And it was actually funny. Now, there was also part of the skit where he's approaching other cultured men. And he's doing what we would think that most rednecks would do when they see brothers that had experienced that experience. And that was a part of the uproar. A part of the funny is the truth. If his depiction make you look at behavior and instead of taking accountability and changing it, but you like, nah, you're going to put the onus on him for acknowledging it? Nah. So that's why I say this so-called backlash, because it was funny. Because he also did another skit prior to where he's a white guy and he's in the hood. And he's doing everything, like there's always the one white guy in the hood that, he's of the culture. He's kind of adapted into the culture. He's our bro. He can't say the N-word, never, but he's our bro. And when he depicted that, it was no problems. But now he does the redneck. Now it's a problem. So this so-called backlash, it was still hella funny to me. And continue to do your thing, Drewski. Continue to do your thing. All right, y'all. Moving on to our next hot topic. Question. Is it respectable for school teachers to dress with is it respectable for school teachers to dress form fitting? Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Is it respectable for school teachers to dress form fitting? Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Me personally, I'm going to say this. If a man dress form-fitting in any school sector, whether it's high school, junior high school, and elementary, it's always going to be inappropriate. If he's walking around, pause, with the nut hugger slacks and you could see the business, that wouldn't be acceptable. That wouldn't be acceptable. So why would it be acceptable for a woman to have very form-fitting clothing and you could see damn near the nipple on her breast and how big? Like, some people can't control their shape, but you can control what you wear. You can dial it down. Some features it's hard to hide. Okay, cool. Get a big shirt. You can still see a remnants of it, but you're not wearing something that's fit and catered to, so that way when you bend over, it's distracting and it's creating all this unnecessary tension, right? So me personally, I don't think it's respectable that any teacher, whether it's male or female, man or woman, to wear form-fitting clothing in the school setting, because it's not appropriate. Because just like for a guy, those little girls could be attracted to the older man. But why put yourself in that situation when you could just wear baggier clothes, bro? Now, the only time where I could somewhat understand a little bit of it, but not, you know what I'm saying? It still needs to be baggy, is if y'all doing gym exercises. Still need to wear baggy clothes. You still need to wear baggy shirt and shorts. But I can understand that you're not going to be so super heavy or super relaxed. But it still need the flow. It still need the flow. And we're talking about teachers. We're not talking about students. We're talking about teachers. So again, I think it's highly inappropriate if a teacher was to continue to wear form-fitting clothing at the school, because it's like, who you trying to impress? Like, you're going to the school and majority of your day is around the students. So who are you trying to impress? Who attention are you trying to get for real? Let's keep it real. You're going to see the other teachers. You're going to see them in passing, probably see them on your lunch break. But on your break, majority of your time is with the students. At the beginning of the school day, you have homeroom. During the school day, you got classes. And then you go back to your homeroom to be released out to the wilderness. So again, who are you doing it for? So again, I agree with the fact that it is disrespectful and it's just not a good look that teachers wear form-fitting clothing in a school setting. All right, y'all, moving on to my next hot topic. The Young Thug conversations have been released. And it's all different types of conversations that from his jail stint or prison stint, that his conversations are being released to the public. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. Me personally, I think it's just another distraction. If this was such big news and all this, why they didn't release it then? Why does it matter now? It doesn't even matter what he says now. It doesn't matter on who's snitching or who's doing that for a deal or who he doesn't feel is cute. It doesn't matter. I can't imagine what most people say on the phone. Imagine your personal conversations was to get public and what the people on your job would think about you and how you really felt about them or just your everyday life. He's speaking in confidence to somebody that he's thinking his conversation in confidence. Now, for those who don't know, jail conversations is not, in confidence. It is a known fact that it will be available or could be available to the public at some point in time. But when they're on the phone, the guards do listen, right? Or supposed to listen. But he's still having a conversation with whoever that he's having it with. They don't release all the prisoners' conversations because nobody wants to hear all the prisoners' conversations. So to me, it really don't matter what he said about anything or anybody at the end of the day because it's still a distraction. This is their way of keeping him relevant in the world of fame. He's already relevant. He's low-key like a legend because of his music. He's made great music throughout his career. So he's always going to be known for his music. But all the other stuff, they just trying to add on to it as a tool. As a distraction. So that's how I look at the tapes that's being released from Young Thug. Shout out to Lucifer in the building. Appreciate you tapping in. Which is... Okay, appreciate you tapping in, man. Appreciate you tapping in. Hit them likes, hit them 100s while you're here. It helps with the growth of the show. Appreciate you. All right, y'all. Moving on to our next hot topic. It's Thursday night. Y'all already know what time it is. College picks. My pick six is in. College picks for this week. Make sure y'all check these games out. Maybe bet on some of these games when y'all some money on, you know what I'm saying? If y'all going to bet on the games. Bet responsibly and, and all my games are difficult. I didn't do any easy games. These are all 50-50 games in my opinion. But I'm going to give y'all some dope picks to tap into. And y'all can do your own research and tap into these games. So again, these are my pick six, college football for this week. I'm going to do NFL for the next week because NFL started tonight. So I'm going to have the NFL stuff for next week with the college football 6 picks as well as next week. So my 6 picks for this week is game number 1, number 20, Ole Miss goes and plays Kentucky. I got Ole Miss in this game. They number 20 in the world. Now, Ole Miss can lose to Kentucky. Kentucky did look good in their first game, but they played against an opponent that they can beat. Ole Miss is number 20 in the country for a reason. They should be able to beat Kentucky. Will they beat Kentucky? Again, they playing at Kentucky. This is an upset alert game. But I'm still going with Ole Miss. Overall, Ole Miss has more talent on their team, traditionally. So I got Ole Miss. My second pick, you got Baylor going to number 17, SMU. This game is a recipe for upset. There's no way I don't pick number 17, SMU for this game. There's no way. But I'm going to pick Baylor in this game. I'm going with Baylor. Their coach is very detailed, very smart, and he has a knack for winning games like this. And in my belief, the Big 12 is just better than the ACC as a conference. They were better last year, and I think they're going to be better this year again. A team like Baylor going to play SMU, 17 SMU, going there to their field. I think they're built for this, so I'm going with Baylor for the upset. Number 11, Illinois playing Duke. Again, upset alert. Upset alert. Duke can win this game at home. But Illinois, they play in the Big Ten. They're not going to get many games like this where they could actually blow, pause, Duke out the water. They could blow Duke out the water. But again, the Big Ten is so tough. If they don't win games like this, they're not going to have a good season. They're not going to have the opportunity to go play for the college football playoffs. So I'm going with Illinois for the win. My number 4 game, South Florida is playing number 13 Florida. South Florida, this is an upset alert type of game. South Florida does look good. Their quarterback, he could run the ball very well. If I'm Florida, I'm forcing him to pass the ball. He's just not an accurate passer. But he can run. He's a big guy. He's like 6'3", 245. And when he gets in the open space, he could be very special. But because of that, I just think Florida has to win this game playing in that SEC. If they win this game and they do well in the SEC, they could play for a college football playoff. And they looked good against LIU last week. But again, I'm going with Florida, number 13 Florida in this game. My 5th game, Iowa versus number 16 Iowa State. Another upset alert game. Iowa could easily win this game. But I'm going with Iowa State. I've seen Iowa State. They rough, they fast, and they know how to scheme. They know how to scheme. And them getting this game, I would not be surprised because, again, that Big 12 is scary good. They're a scrappy conference. So, again, I'm going with Iowa State. And my final game for my pick 6 is number 15 Michigan going to number 18 Oklahoma. Y'all already know where I'm going with this. I'm going with my team. I'm going with my Michigan Wolverines. We're going to pull up and we're going to do our Doug Dizzle. We're going to do our Doug Dizzle. I like how our young quarterback look. I think he's going to get better from week to week. And I think he's going to run a little bit more this week. I'm glad they didn't let him run at all last week. But I think they're going to see his running ability this week. And Oklahoma traditionally, for a while now, their defense has been terrible. Terrible. We have the right quarterback. Our backfield is loaded. We got a 3-headed monster at the backfield position. And we got a whole bunch of receivers and a tight end that could just get downfield. We use use our running game to set up the passing. So I'm going with Michigan to win this game. So my pick 6, I got, again, Ole Miss beating Kentucky, Baylor upsetting SMU. I have Illinois beating Duke. I have South Florida losing to the University of Florida. I got Iowa losing to Iowa State. And I have Michigan beating Oklahoma for my pick 6. So again, if you're trying to win some money on, I got you. All right, y'all. Y'all been absolutely amazing. Y'all been absolutely amazing tonight. It's just been one of them things, man. Y'all been absolutely amazing. Moving on to my final segment, which is Keep the Lie Alive. My Keep the Lie Alive for this episode is friends. Friends. I've been struggling with that word lately. Friends is a very interesting word because I had to really look at the understanding of the word friends. And see, in my mind, a friend is not a word for real. A friend is an act. And I don't know if it's just the space and place that we're in right now in the world, but we're seeing it come to a fruition where friendships really have a time limit. Friendships have a season and a reason. Me and my book and my upbringing and my understanding, a real friend, it never has a time limit. It never has a season or a reason. And that's a word I've really been struggling with lately, because it's not the word, it's an act. It's the type of energy you bring to somebody, and not having to be in service to them. Putting their energy, pause, and your energy in the best space possible. In order to be a friend, you have to be friendly. So I've been struggling with that word lately, because the same things you would do for others, they won't do for you. You could give somebody the shirt off your back, and the thing is, they say that you didn't give me that shirt. You gave me a shirt, you didn't give me that shirt. So the word friends is a very loaded thing. And it plays on our psyche, because the only people, at least in my opinion, random people can never hurt me. You didn't make me, you can't break me. But there's a space that people that you care about can hurt you, because you care about them. So when you see people do things that's uncharacteristic to not just your peer view, but even for them, it's like, that's not even your characteristic. And that's what you're doing. So you have to be very aware of that word and the act of friends. So that's my Keep the Lie Alive for this episode. Again, I want to thank y'all for tuning and tapping in. I'm here every Thursday, every Sunday. Every Thursday, every Sunday. Can the Brothers Get a Rap podcast? Thank you for tapping in for episode 190. We got episode 200 coming up. So again, send me some ideas so I can implement for the 200th episode. I'd love to hear some of y'all ideas in the chat. That would be also amazing as well. If y'all have any questions, it's a good time y'all can ask me some questions. If they're great questions, I will answer. If they're, trolling type questions, y'all know I'm gonna dub it, right? Y'all do know that, right? So if y'all got questions, y'all can ask. And also, if you got any great ideas for me to implement for episode 200, I will do that as well. Look at those ideas. Let me know what y'all think about that in the chat. In the meantime, in between time, again, thank y'all for tuning and tapping in. It's been amazing. Again, every Thursday, every Sunday, every Thursday, every Sunday at 10:30. Thank y'all for tuning and tapping in on the Ashley Lovechild channel. Also, I want to thank the presenting sponsor of this podcast, which is Button Snaps. You get the finest of movies, shows, documentaries, and original content for your viewing pleasure of $4.99. Again, that's Button Snaps. The word button, hyphenated sign, and the word snaps.com. The word button, hyphenated sign, and the word snaps.com. Also, we're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. We're a little over 11, so continue to like, subscribe, and share. Helps with the growth of the show. And also tap into the link. We have membership portions in the page. As you can see, we got members all through the chat. Different memberships do get granted different access. So make sure you tap into the membership portion of the page as well. Also, I want to thank our sponsors, Button Snaps and OUV Records. If you're interested in becoming one of the sponsors of the show, you can hit me on Instagram at Ashley Lovechild. Again, thank y'all for supporting my new EP. That's on all music platforms right now. It's called Winners Loyalty. All you gotta do is type in Ashley Lovechild. For those who just heard of me tonight, tap in, show your support. And for those who've been tapping in, thank you for supporting that new project. I got some new announcements coming up, and I think I'm gonna save it for episode 200. Some fire announcements, so I can't wait for episode 200 to give y'all that information as well. Man, y'all been outstanding tonight as always, and it's always love. And y'all already know, man, it's love. And I see y'all this Sunday at 10:30. I'm out.